Hey, we're back again. State of Runeterra. We're gonna do this right. We're in Shurima now. Shurima's also. I feel like they're gonna be safe on having to print a lot of non-champion creatures. Um, I think they have at least two good picks that you would be excited about playing, but I think because the void existing, it makes it pretty hard to make me believe that they're going to run out of champions when they have four champions of their own still, depending on where they actually want to put Rengar, and seven voidlings to deal with. So, like, we're a long ways from, I think, being in trouble with Shurima. I think they have a lot of champions that we're not going to have to worry about, but I don't think they have that many options on non-playable champions, to be honest, because they don't have a lot of non-name stuff. You know, if you look through it, it's a lot of this faction kind of is the one of us, you're one of us faction from the Sound Soldiers. All his devoted followers kind of fit in the same mode. The golems kind of fit in the same mode. You have very other than Ziggs, like they're the only like outer archetypes where you're like, yeah, those people are just here doing their crazy stuff. But Kahiri would probably be one of those for sure because he has two cards already. I think he could kind of fit in another archetype in a weird way, but I think someone's going to dominate that from him. I do like the idea of them printing more Kahiris because, like, his wibbly wobbly time lord running around is actually good for him. I don't think someone like the Herald or Voice of the Risen or any of those would be capable or thought of in that process unless they were going to show you a Azir army, and that would be cool. Like from maybe his big deck, that would be cool because I think there is a name guy in the Azir deck, but I would rather not see that play style, and I think we all kind of would be in agreement that we're not like woot woot, let's do that. When we've seen enough of it already and it's kind of dominated the Shurima in general. Where what hasn't really dominated is kind of like the Bakai and some of the other not sand soldiers, but like the other people. Like Rockhopper's good, but you feel like she's under Talia, but like where is he? The Bacchae for sure. The other sand people that are under Raz, the the merciless hunters, those sorts of people really haven't been brought out into the fold yet, at least card game wise to us. So I think we'd like to see more of those hunters and some of that stuff going on. Maybe the new champion is part of this. I'm not really sure where he's focused. I think he's in uh, Xtal or however you say it. But Kahiri would probably be your number one stunner in here. I don't think any of the named void creatures would get a nod over and the 5-drop one too has named, or the 7-drop one, something like that, are in the running for this sort of title. I don't see that at all. You know, even though this guy's named, you know, I don't feel like they kind of think in that sort of way. I feel like they're kind of like a hive mind, closer to that than actually individuals. So Priestess would be interesting, but it being so new, I don't think that's the case. Roz would definitely be like more of that archetype of the negative, your dudes, and something maybe a little more permanent would be interesting too. In negative one counters or something of that nature, or hey, this dude's permanently this or something like that would be. I wouldn't suggest putting a lot of it in the game, but enough of it to be like, you know, to make it interesting and different, like a different frostbite would be quite interesting. I think in general, I don't think it's going to be a problem because they have a lot of voidlings to deal with. If you consider Kaisa one of the void, you can. I think she is just by blood, not by actual like who she is. I don't look at it that way, but she is part of the void because she is void. And it would be interesting to see what they do. I mean, they still have Sad Mummy, the Moo, the Ramus, Skarner is also interesting. And I think they also have enough creatures that are still kind of monstrous. Because minus this faction, if you look at the other factions, they are real light on monsters. Real light. Like, Demacia has a golem and, you know, a dragon that kind of looks like a hot girl. And, like, a lot of them are that way in general, minus the undead. In general, like, maybe Targon would be excluded in that. And the Freljord has a couple. But in general, they're humanoids. Or some sort of mythical, you know, creature. Where, other than Rek'Sai, and maybe you can consider Renekton, and a few others, are truly like monsters. So, I think at some point, we're going to see a monster set. I think it would be sometime around October. And I think it would be real cool to be a champion for every faction. Because it would solve a problem of the Voidlings, Fiddlesticks, Ringar, if you categorize them as that, Kled, Cassiopeia, things of that nature would be quite interesting. But I don't think they're anywhere close to needing this. But I do think it would be interesting if it was Kahiri, because we want Kahiri to work. We like the idea of Kahiri. Everything about it's right on. And Raz, too. And even some like Bacchae Lord would be quite interesting. Even though we have the big doggo and the bad doggo and Warwick, you know, it would be. I don't think we're against having another doggo. I think we're like, we just like to see. How do I put this? Shurima has shown its best light, and it would be interesting to see what the Zon of this faction is, and what the reality of the Bacchae and, you know, trying to be a god and failing would be, because Targon's kind of similar in the other way, just in more of a pantheonic way, where this one's kind of like the cultists under the shadows. You went to a secret temple in the middle of the desert, sort of black magic sort of way, which nothing wrong with, just two different sort of realities. And I think that's pretty interesting. So, and I think there are other things I could say, but I'd rather put those in other videos, because I think Kahiri might have a home somewhere else. Because we'll get into that later, but I feel like that might be a possibility, and it would be interesting to see. You'll see it in a later video. If you have any comments or thoughts of what you would like to see or what you hope to see, leave a comment and we'll talk about it. Talk to you later.